Hey everyone, welcome to the show. This is Zach Dahl, editor and director of PDS on the Rocks. I'm back in the editing bay this week working on today's special presentation of PDS on the Rocks. Our team is back from MOPAR, but not quite studio ready, so we have another special edition of the show today. Last week, our new CEO, Pat Reininger, sat down with Ted Ings as part of his week-long FORTSTOCK event to give us an introduction to himself as well as the future of Brooke.ai and proactive dealer solutions. So with that, I say welcome to the team, Pat, and we hope you enjoy this edition of PDS on the Rocks.
Welcome back to the Fixed Ops Roundtable. Pat Reininger is with us. He is the new CEO of Proactive Dealer Solutions and Brooke.ai. Very honored to have you, Pat. Welcome to the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thanks, Ted. It's a pleasure to be here. Appreciate the invitation.
Pat, you've got some really deep roots in automotive before you came to Proactive. And by the way, your company is one of the leaders in automotive retail and helping take us to that next level where we need to be. But honored to have you. Give us a little bit of your background, if you don't mind, for people who may not know you yet.
Yeah, sure. Again, I equate deep roots to old and in the industry a long time. So thanks for that, Ted. I appreciate it. But look, I don't even know where to begin. My love affair with cars began at a very young age. My parents were French immigrants to Canada, where I grew up, and my dad was a mechanic who tinkered on Citroëns and Peugeots and Mercedes in the driveway on the weekends. So as a young kid, I would hand him tools and watch him work on these cool cars. And once in a while, I got to do some minor work on these vehicles and fancied myself a mechanic. And later in life, I realized that he just didn't want to do the dirty work and had me do that for him. But that kicked off really a fascination that I've had with this business ever since. So fast forward to college, coming out of college, I decided to sell cars and went to work for a dealership by the name of Great Lakes Nissan in Windsor, Ontario. And I met a gentleman by the name of John Chisholm, who was one of my early mentors. And, he taught me a lot about retail. He taught me about the inner workings of the dealership. And I spent, the next 4 years working in retail, mostly sales and F&I, and really just trying to understand that dynamic in that space when I had the opportunity at that point to join Chrysler Canada. So I, switched gears and I joined the OEM side, and I spent the better part of 14 years in the field calling on dealers for sales, service, parts, ultimately ran their national service marketing activity and all of their customer retention initiatives. And really started early in my career to focus in on retention, service and parts retention primarily, and repurchase consideration to the point where I hired a company called RL Polk, which probably a lot of you people know. And we built out at the time our first web-based service marketing solution. And the project was really so much fun that at that point I decided to pack up my gear, hung up my corporate cleats, and I joined Polk in Europe to head up their product strategy. So in 2006, I moved to Germany, supported the European market, and really worked with OEMs and large dealer groups to try and figure out how we leverage data to drive a more personal experience for our customers. And spent the better part of 9 years with Polk in different markets. And my part-time job, Ted, was to act as the global after-sales practice leader because fixed operations was where my heart was at. So I had the privilege of meeting customers really across the globe just to talk about customer retention and how to drive that service loyalty, with the end game being repurchase consideration. So that was just a privilege for me and a great opportunity to meet a lot of great customers and find out that at the end of the day, regardless of what market you're in or which OEM hat or dealer hat you wear, the fundamental challenges are the same in this industry and have been for a long time. So the key is, how do we bridge that gap and how do we accelerate our evolution in this industry to meet the customers where they want to be? And that bar over the last 30 years of my career has continued to change and move faster and farther. So I think the challenge just becomes harder, which is what drew me to PDS, by the way.
your company is poised and in a great position, and you've got deep roots in this industry. And I think there's no substitute for that early retail experience as well. We spoke in the green room before we got started that the industry right now is at such a point of significant change, okay, with all the talk about multiple powertrains, EVs, a lot of shifts going on. I don't think I've ever seen anything like where we are right now. Talk to us about that, because I think that puts you in a very unique spot.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And there's never been a more challenging time to be in this business, but there's never been a more exciting time to be in this business, right? And if you look at everything that's happening, we're at an inflection point where customer experience is really the only differentiator, in my opinion, that sets one group apart from another, or an OEM apart from another OEM. And if you think about the fundamental transformations that are happening today, the scale and the speed at which they're happening, you look at vehicle affordability, you look at changing customer expectations, vehicle to everything connectivity. Those are all opening the door for new consumer options, right? You think of electrification, you think of new distribution models, fractional ownership, e-mobility, and eventually autonomous vehicles down the road. Now, unfortunately, as an industry, we aren't keeping up, right? All these things have continued to happen over the last few years as we've gone through the supply chain issue that has created really an artificial market condition that's put us into a fog, right? We've seen record profitability. We've seen extremely low inventory levels. And unfortunately, the end result of that is we've taken our eye off the ball, and our customers have suffered through a worsened customer experience. So I think coming out of this market condition, we actually have set CX back 5 or 10 years as an industry. Because we've been lulled by this false sense of profitability and security. So now as inventories come back, there's downward pressure on profitability. There's increased competition. We're going to see a higher staff turnover in our stores because now they actually have to earn a living and not take orders. So that's going to create churn that we should anticipate. So as we think about all these pieces, as we get back to truly competitive business, the reality that the customer experience has already passed us, I think, by 2 or 3 years, we've got to double down as leaders in this business and invest in our people and our technology to figure out how do we bring a more consistent customer experience to bear, and how do we set our people up to succeed when the expectations are so far ahead of what we're delivering today.
Love it. We're speaking today to the new CEO of Proactive Dealer Solutions and Brooke.ai, Patrick Reininger. Been in our industry for a long time. Pat, your company is at the forefront of AI, and I've never seen the discussion as deep as it is right now within our industry about that. You're one of the early adopters, and talk to us. How do you see the technology reshaping the way we think? You go, and you've spoken quite a bit about customer experience. How's it going to help us, for example, there?
Yeah, there is clearly a lot of buzz, and it seems like every day there's a new tagline around Gen AI. But look, Gen AI in and of itself is not what's going to improve this industry. Matter of fact, if it's poorly executed, I think we're actually going to damage the customer experience if we're not careful on how we leverage those tools. We believe that AI, fueled with the right data, the right core data, and informed with the right subject matter experts, that will help deliver a more consistent professional customer experience, and at the same time reduce cost as we get into this margin pressure, and free up the frontline employees to spend more time with customers in store. So it's all about really, how do you fuel these tools and how do you keep them relevant as you go forward? And if we look at Brooke.ai, we're already seeing some really important indicators that supports the role of technology in delivering that positive customer outcome. And I'll give you a couple of examples. Okay. Dealers that use Brooke.ai are saying about 50% of their inbound call volume handled completely by technology. So think about that. That allows dealers to repurpose those resources and either focus on other tasks or simply, take cost out of the business. So it's a really important element in your long-term profitability plan. But more importantly, customers that are using Brooke, they're booking about 60% of their service appointments without human intervention. So think about that. You got, 50% of your calls are being handled. 60% of the people who want an appointment are using technology from end to end to do that. And 80% of those customers are actually showing up on the scheduled date and time that they booked. So, those customers are receiving a consistent professional experience. They're engaging with the technology, and they're showing up as planned with the dealership. So we're seeing some really, really great results.
I just booked a service appointment yesterday, and I wish the dealership I do business with was using a product like Brooke.ai, because I typically I don't book during the business hours. Right? I did it, later in the evening, and it wasn't available. Okay. I had to call back during business hours and make the appointment. Talk to us about adapting to change. Keeping that technology up to date is going to be imperative for dealers as AI is going to advance. And we see it in a number of different platforms here at the Fixed Ops Roundtable. How will Brooke.ai ensure that the technology remains at the forefront as things continue to evolve?
It's a great question, Ted, and one that we're obsessed with, right? So you're absolutely right. The speed of change right now in this space requires that not only do we remain diligent and focused on evolution, we've got a team that's dedicated to product innovation, and this is not just a team of tech experts. As I said earlier, we have an army of seasoned performance coaches that understand this business. So we leverage that knowledge. We leverage our product innovation team to continue to bring solutions that we believe will be where the customers want to meet us. But I think more importantly, we're also, as we speak, launching a client advisory board where we're going to invite some of our most strategic customers to sit with us and partner as we map out our future roadmap or product roadmaps. So this ensures that, we're not just building things in a vacuum that we think this is where the industry is headed and what customers want. We want to be relevant to customers, but we want to stay centered on the needs of our OEM and dealer customers, because at the end of the day, all these solutions have got to be relevant to the business process that we're working through. So that's kind of our innovation plan. It's bringing customers with us on the journey and making sure we have an eye on the future with our customers.
And Pat, I think you're the only company that's also got the deep roots with proactive dealer solutions in that business development space to back it up. All right. That's really the foundation. And now you've added the technology on top of that. So I think it's a very potent 1-2 punch.
It's exactly our play, and it's our vision for the future is to say, while there's technology to enable an experience, you have to have the people that understand and love this business as much as our customers do. And I think that's our strength.
Okay, finally, Pat, here we are in the middle of September. We're on the cusp of fall, about 3.5 months left in the year, looking out into the future. On a personal note, what motivates you in this new role as the CEO of the company, and how do you stay inspired? You've seen a lot in our industry over the time that you've been in and done a lot of things and worn several hats. How do you stay inspired in such a fast-moving industry?
Yeah, Ted, as I said, I've loved this business since I was a boy, right? And I want my son, who's 7 now, and he loves cars as much as I did when I was that age. I want him to know that his dad was part of the generation of auto professionals that really helped reshape this industry. And looking back, and when he looks at it, it'll be a different world. And who knows, maybe he'll have an autonomous car taking him to and from school, hopefully. But I find inspiration in the people around me. I find inspiration with our OEM and dealer customers, team members, and really industry friends who just are as passionate as I am about the changes that are happening. And there's never been a faster transformative period in the industry. So it doesn't take much to stay inspired, I think, in the environment we're in.
Pat, great honor to have you with us here today at the Fixed Ops Roundtable.
Thank you, Ted. I really appreciate it. And congratulations on another great event.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for being a big part of it, Pat, at Proactive Dealer Solutions and Brooke.ai. Everybody, get to know Proactive Dealer Solutions, Brooke.ai, big part of our events. Pat Reininger's new CEO at the company and has deep experience and is going to lead that charge into the brave new future, okay, for our industry with technology. So, Pat, on behalf of the Fixed Ops Roundtable, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Ted.
And that's going to do it for today's PDS on the Rocks. We'd like to give a big shout out and thank you to Ted Ings for hosting us on his Fixed Ops Roundtable FORTSTOCK event. We'd also like to give a special thank you to Pat for taking the time to give us all a chance to get to know him a little better. Everyone here at the company is very happy that he's part of the team and really excited for the future of Proactive Dealer Solutions. If you liked the video, please let us know. Like the video, share the video, and subscribe for more weekly content. We'll be back next week with a standard edition of PDS on the Rocks, we promise. For more information on all our products and services, please visit proactivedealersolutions.com. Until next week, this is Zach Dahl from the Editing Bay, and it's 5 o'clock somewhere.